medium,
polar vortex,
hidden snacks.
Some like it hot and it burnt. The heat is on it. I don't like it hot because I sweat and it's too hot. I can do that cool 80s part.
1, 2, 3, 4. Sitting on the bench. Writing's really hard. We need another snack. And that is just a fact. Oh.
I should be recording this.
Oh, that's okay.
Never mind. Okay, start the podcast.
All right. Hi, this is Shauna.
And this is Trisha.
And this is Two Girls on a Bench.
The podcast. Wait. The podcast?
Did you sound like you weren't sure?
I'm so surprised.
That's so funny. I was recently in a hospital with my parents, and the elevator, when it goes up, it says going up. And me and my mom were like,
are you really?
We're like, is it not sure? But then my mom realized, she told me that she thinks it's because it's for people that speak other languages, because she says when it says going down, it's like the tone of the voice goes down and up.
And your
like
mom
that.
would hear that because she's like musical.
Yeah, I never would have noticed that. And I was like, oh, okay. But I still felt like every time I was going up, it was asking me. Like it didn't seem sure.
You're like, yes, I am.
Where's like the yes affirmations needed to happen. Anyway, welcome to our bench.
Hi, guys.
We are right on the bench.
We snack on the bench.
And most of all, we procrastinate on the bench. Sometimes we just start talking about other stuff right away, like we did right now.
Elevators that question their existence.
They question their main function.
Their main function.
So we have a really fun episode for you today, and I'm going to start out with a quote that like is going to lead us into it.
Nice.
So,
noise.
All right.
I always wanted to say that.
Okay.
Like Noice. Okay.
Yeah, but why?
Don't talk to me about that.
Okay. Here's the quote. Important encounters are planned by the souls long before the bodies see each other. Paulo Coelho. Awesome author. What did he write, Trisha?
The Alchemist.
That's right.
Not
Great book.
Not The Alchemist.
No, The Alchemist. Which is an awesome book that I was reading somewhere. Somebody,
it's a very tiny book too. It's like a fast read.
And I was reading this thing where it was like you should read it like every like 10 years.
That's
or
actually kind of
good. And so I have read it. Like I remember the last time, I don't know where I read that, like some article or something, and then I like bought it because I don't know.
I have it.
I didn't
too.
even know where my other copy of it was. I just bought another one.
I think I have your other copy.
Oh, maybe I lent it to a friend.
Maybe,
fine.
Perhaps.
It's not bad for me to buy another book.
I'm like that friend that borrows a lawnmower and never gives it back. Like
I don't have a lawnmower.
Or the weed whacker.
I don't have a weed whacker.
All of which I borrowed. That's why you do not have them. Just kidding.
Oh, no, I never had.
You're
okay, anyway.
Not from me.
Well, these are bad examples.
It's
up. More like,
like
how you're hiding my Mickey Mouse in that cube that I found one day when we were on a podcast. It's more like that.
Yeah.
Stop stealing my stuffed animals.
I wonder if Mel Brooks has read The Alchemist recently. You should suggest it to her.
The Alchemist is a great book, and you should read it every 10 years.
Every 10 years. You heard it here first.
Because you'll then like
second.
see it differently. Like you'll learn something. You'll be at a different point in your life, and you'll see something totally new in it. It sort of has that.
Agree with that. Yeah. So, do you want to give us a synopsis of The Alchemist right now?
No, I want people to go. I want people to go and figure it out and go on a journey.
You guys, I wanted to scare Shauna with that question just now, but I have to tell you this. There was no fear in her eyes.
No, I mean, I was like, oh, it's going to take a long time.
You're just like, no.
We don't have the time.
But I would have freaked out and tried to do it. If you asked me to do it. Why am I like that?
I don't know.
Why would I try to do it? I don't know. Anyways.
And it would have been like, if you don't do it.
I'm permanently punished.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen to you.
I don't know what's going to happen.
I have no like authority over you.
No, there is none. Nothing's going to happen. Most likely.
No more wine.
I know. What? Anyways.
All right. So that is our quote.
And
it really leads into the awesome episode we have ahead, which is an interview with a really cool person that's a psychic.
Yeah, she calls herself a medium or an empath.
I think she
Right?
calls herself a psychic medium. Well, she actually says
Psychic medium.
She actually says it in the
In the interview?
and you're gonna hear that. And apparently, we weren't there because we
Yeah,
don't remember.
we don't
I'm just
remember
kidding.
anything.
We were there, but we.
So this is a friend of ours for how long? How long has it been? Like 16 years?
Well, I say it in the thing.
You do. So I'm not going to repeat it now.
Let's just repeat the whole interview.
sorry.
And then play the interview.
Anyways.
We'll give highlights.
Okay, I just want to say
The abridged version.
her name is Shari, and you'll meet her in
Cliff
a second,
notes.
in a little bit. No, I'm not going to give Cliff Notes, but I just want to say this. My husband is a huge doubter of those who claim to be psychic or have any other side connection. And like, he didn't even believe in acupuncture till it worked on our dog. Okay. And that's not even like a psychic thing. That's like a medical thing. But anyways, so I just want to say that Shari is...
believe in acupuncture. I'm all, what? How's that related to psychic things?
It's not. It's
Oh.
not. But he kind of lumps it all in the same thing.
He's all gobbledygook.
East.
Gobbledygook. I don't know.
He's like Eastern medicine and psychic and media, all that bullshit
Yeah.
that goes together in one pile, right?
Yeah.
And if you're that kind of person, I get it. I'm married to that person.
Yeah.
However,
I mean, just discount half the world and their knowledge.
I know 50%, whatever.
He
So-
knows, though. He
I
knows
know.
deep down.
So no, I just want to say, like, Shari's the real deal. Like, she's helped me a ton in my life,
Me too.
and you'll hear that like as we discuss things. But you know, like, really, if you're looking for someone to give you just like a brighter path, like, this would be a person to connect with. So she does have a service, and we do have like a little promo we'll be offering. So, you know, we'll put that in the show notes. But I just wanted to say, like, before you discount it as bullshit.
Yeah. Oh, I thought
Just
you were going to
because-
say that Aaron believes in her.
Oh, no. Here's what Aaron believes in. He believes that she helped me.
Oh, well, that's
So
a good way to
that's
look
actually
at it.
more
If-
important than
Yeah.
him believing in her. He fully believes that what she did for me, and like when my mom passed, helped me 100%.
Yeah, she told me something that helped me a lot, too.
Yeah.
It helped me come to terms with something that's
Right?
really been bothering me
So that's, I feel
for
like,
my life or whatever.
right, that is the thing you should know going in as a skeptic.
Have an open mind.
It's
or
okay to
just
be a
enjoy the
skeptic.
conversation because it's super interesting.
Very interesting.
And Shari's just like a fun, cool person, and we
just
like
love
her.
Shari
and
a
we've
lot.
known her for a long time, and she's cool. And she has like cool fairy hair. I don't think we talk about that.
No, fairy
has-
hair is like a thing.
There's a lady that dresses like a fairy and makes
She
her
literally
hair
dresses like a fairy.
look like a fairy.
Yeah, she puts glitter strings into
It's like
your hair.
What is it? Kind of like a weave or something?
Yeah, like a weave.
But she's got beautiful like purpley hair with this like pretty little glitter
yeah,
pieces.
it's very subtle.
But it looks like your real hair.
yeah,
Is
it's
all-
pretty
I'm
cool.
not describing it well, but it looks super cool.
I don't know if they have that here.
I
or
don't know,
in
but I
other
want somebody
states.
dressed like a fairy doing my hair, just like
As
whatever.
soon as I asked her as a joke if her hair person dressed as a fairy to put the fairy hair in, and then she replied without blinking or laughing, "Yes, she does." I was like, "Dude, I need that.
I want that.
I want to take my daughter to that,
I
and
wanna,
my
like,
son.
I want to go to that
We
just
all need fairy hair."
by myself on a sad day when I'm feeling lonely, when it rains. Okay,
All right.
so yeah, so that's coming
So
up.
stay tuned for that, and also an important announcement about Red Club.
Yeah, but first we're gonna have a little snack.
What?
Snack.
I'm so surprised.
Give me that snack book.
Hit me, Sergeant.
So today's snack is a I just reminded myself of oh my god, I am losing my brain right now.
I'll just cut that part out.
It's like I literally was gonna say something and my mind went blank. Okay, it's a movie and they're singing John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John. Grease. Oh my god.
Got thrills. They're
There's
multiplying.
when they're having the sleepover, the girls, she's all
like, "It's a
Twinkies,"
dessert
and
wine.
it's a dessert wine, and that was
Brush up, brush up, brush
that was
up.
my whole story backwards. Okay,
Okay.
This
It's
is Gascon.
Rewind that and you'll hear the story.
This is Gascon, a Malbec from Argentina, and our snack is wine. Because it's February and I'm not dry January anymore.
Vine.
I mostly made it through. I drank wine when
With me.
we almost
After
died.
that drive from hell.
Yeah, that was scary, and we had to like calm our nerves.
We
And we just
almost
had
died.
one glass of wine.
We did. It wasn't
But
that
we
bad.
were like shaking in our boots. And then one other night when things went way south in my home, I had a glass of whiskey.
Shari
but
has
just one.
2 teenagers.
But I just had one.
Yeah.
And so I don't really count either one of those because they were under extreme circumstances. And
They
I
were
was not
needed.
drunk.
Yeah.
And I was not overindulging.
Yeah.
I was merely getting by.
Yes. you were, it was like a Xanax.
That sounds weird.
A Xanax for the soul.
But anyway, wow. That's deep.
I'm so deep.
Anyway, so now we're having
Cheers.
this drink.
Oh, that was a good clink.
Could you guys hear that?
Probably not. Whatever.
Between the microphones. Anyway, and then I found our okay, well, we have a few snacks actually. Do you
Yeah.
want to talk about your crackers?
So I was recently traveling in Ohio during the polar vortex. If you want to hear more about that, tune in next week to Gravity Beard because I will be calling in my travel journal live
Okay.
on a recorded episode of that show.
I'm all what?
Sounded super weird. Anyways, Southwest doesn't just give out pretzels anymore.
It's not just for pretzels
Not just
anymore.
pretzels anymore. They give out plain crackers, which is a play on words, see? Because it's PLANE, plain, airplane-shaped Ritz crackers.
What?
But they're also plain, PLAIN crackers.
What? And they're
So,
Ritz.
It's the
Ritz,
Ritz.
if you want to sponsor us, we're here with
Yeah.
these plain crackers.
Southwest.
Just send us, like I said, Southwest. Southwest. Send us some plain vouchers.
Ritz
We're ready.
and Southwest, we're here for you.
We're- you
On
know.
Southwest, I had to sit in the middle seat between 2
Gascon.
very
You have any wine?
winery. And Southwest, I had to sit between 2 very large men on my 7:30 flight from Ohio, which got me home super
I didn't
late.
even know that Southwest like flew that far.
I went to Denver first, and
Oh.
then my plane was also delayed, and then I went from Denver to California. So
Oh.
I just like sat in airports all over the world. But I think the flight attendant felt sorry for me, and I ordered
And
a
she
Jack.
gave you extra.
Yeah, I ordered a
plain
Jack and
crackers.
Coke, and she gave me extra plain crackers because I was like, "Can I have one more of these for my kids? Because they're super cute, right?"
Yeah.
But my kids are so happy. Like my daughter broke open my briefcase as soon as she got up the next morning. It's not a briefcase. It's like a satchel. It's not a briefcase. Who has a briefcase anymore?
I don't know. It's weird. I pictured the weirdest thing when you said that, and then I was like,
Like I pictured my dad's like 1981.
"Yeah,
briefcase.
it's all like Samsonite or something."
It's a satchel. It's a normal what you put your laptop in.
a laptop bag.
Okay. Opened my laptop bag and pulled out. She was for breakfast eating her plain crackers and
Aw.
pretzels. Like she was like so excited because there's
During
no more
this, she-
peanuts.
She pulled out your laptop and started working.
She was like, "I'm gonna get shit done for mom. Mom is
She's
tired."
all, it's time to look at these financials.
By the time I went to
7
bed,
a.m..
it was like 2:30 in the morning, which for me was Ohio time, 5:30 in the morning. So I was rather fucked up, but
You're a mess.
I'm still catching up on it. Honestly,
I had a nice tour of the California countryside. I drove to San Luis Obispo.
that's right.
In the
and
rain.
the flight attendant gave me a free Jack and Coke. Was my story.
Oh, I didn't get any drinks.
But
which is
no
good 'cause I
drinks for
was
you because you were
driving.
driving, and I took a lift home, so I'm good.
Aw.
But I had the scariest Lyft driver in the world. So
What happened?
we get in the car. He says nothing. We drive a few minutes, and he's like, "You okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah." We keep going, and he's a driver
The door's
that
locked.
pumps the
Oh.
brakes as he drives and gets to curves. So after we pass like the main thoroughfare of like the city, and we're like coming more into like the valley,
Where'd you
and
fly
then
out of LAX?
LAX.
Okay.
So we're coming across like the 405 to the 101 or whatever.
He was braking
He
the whole
hits a
time
curb.
at like 10 in the morning.
He's
10 at night.
No, 2 in the morning.
Just kidding. 2 in the morning.
Braking the whole time, or pumping the gas, like stepping on the gas. Stepping
He's
out,
like
stepping out.
driving with 2 feet. kind of
Almost,
thing?
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. It was horrifying. And then when he would slow down to about 40
Did you give
miles
him
per
a bad
hour
review?
on the freeway, I gave him a horrible review because he
You're
almost
like
killed
terror
us.
in the
There were only like
405.
3 other cars on the freeway, but all 3 of them almost hit us because we were going 40 miles an hour in the second lane, not even in the slow lane. And then when we got to TO, Thousand Oaks, where we live, it's even darker, and he was even more scared. But he would go up he got off the freeway. He passed my exit, tried to get off the exit even though he passed it, and almost crashed into the like exit divider thing, right?
You're
and I was
all,
like,
well, it's been
I'm
a good
go
life.
on to the next exit. Just go on to Sunset. Like, whatever. We get off the next exit and it's super dark. You know, it's dark out here.
Yeah.
I get it. But he pulls up to a stop sign and you think because he's so cautious.
We'll use some navigation.
No.
GPS.
Navigation was going the whole time
Yeah.
on a little holder responsibly. But he was like so nervous. It looked like his hands were like melting the steering wheel. He never went over 60. It's never taken me that long to get from LAX to where we live now in my life. Like I was like texting my husband like I'm going to die. I may be dead right now on the freeway like in a second.
Shit.
So we got here.
Too bad you didn't have a microphone. You could have podcasted it.
I got out of the car and I was just like,
You're all, this
Oh
is
my
my
God.
last will and testament.
it almost was.
Shauna can have all my kazoos.
It was Shauna can have my plain crackers. Not plain PLAIN, but airplane plane. So San Luis Obispo. Sorry, I cut you off.
Oh, no, I cut you off because I forgot you had more to your
so you
story.
were driving.
That's all. I just said I drove, and every time I drive far,
How
it
far
rains.
is that? Like 4 hours?
No, it's like
It's pretty far.
It's like 2.5 hours, but it took me 3 hours because it was raining.
Rain.
But it's on the flip side, it's absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's green
I'm just saying, I survived the
the
polar
whole
vortex
way.
last week. It was like negative, 13.
I feel
or
like
whatever.
I should lend you my sweatshirt, which has a big snowflake
I
on
really
it.
needed that mom sweatshirt.
It's like a total cheeseball mom winter sweatshirt.
It was so cold in Ohio. People were calling me the night before our first meeting, asking me if they needed to bring me coats because I'm the dumb girl from California who doesn't know how to dress warm.
Well, they probably, you know what they probably just think is that you don't have the right coat.
I didn't.
Because like we don't.
I just
because
put
we
a bunch of
don't.
layers on. I mean, I had a coat, but I like put a lot of layers.
But I mean, like, I feel like people have said that to me before
Yeah.
too. When I've gone, they're
They're
like,
just
"Do you
being
have a
nice.
coat?"
Yeah.
Like when I used to go to DC all
they're
the
actually
time.
being nice. I'm being kind of an asshole about
You're
it. but-
kind of a bitch.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing with cold weather, people.
Just kidding.
People that live in states with snow or whatever. It's freezing outside.
Or whatever.
I have to get this off my chest. Freezing outside. You wear a big coat, you wear a sweater, blah 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 blah. You go inside,
Scarf.
you strip down all
gloves.
your shit, right? You're in your sweater, and it's fucking 82 degrees in the office. And
And it should never be 82 degrees.
I don't know how hot it was, but if I wore a
It should be
warmest
70.
if I wore a warmest shirt at all, like warm-ish, not even warm, I was like hot.
Hot
And,
to trot.
Like, I was so hot.
Wait, hold on. I had more snacks.
In Ohio, I'm hot. Just kidding. I'm like
Get
hot
it? Hot
in
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 Cleveland.
a-
Wait, they did a show about that. It was so good.
a yeah. That's why they did it because they're sweaty.
That's not what I
I
meant.
swear to God, I didn't have my makeup primer and spray, like finisher spray. Before
We got a bunch of
before
like
my
cool
trip.
shit from our friend that we're gonna
I
interview
wish-
in a second here.
I wish I would have had it then. I didn't have it. So my face was melted off by like 10:30 in the morning because it was so hot. And everybody was wearing scarves and sweaters and boots in the meeting like it was cold in there. And I'm like,
They're just used to it.
oh my God, the heater is like making my mouth so dry. I'm like sandpaper. Like it's so horrible. Like the amount of chapstick and lotion I use when I'm in another state. Like I just like my skin. I just like picture the Wicked Witch's feet crinkling up and dying under the house. That's my face in Ohio.
Oh my God.
It's pretty horrible.
So you were not hot in Cleveland.
No, I was uncomfortably hot and
sweaty.
It was sweaty and Mason.
Oh.
Whatever. Moving on. I'm gonna cut all that out. It was like
It's
wait.
kind of a long story.
Shut up. Next.
I was going to talk about the hidden snacks.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so we like hide some of our snacks from Trisha's kids because they go in the cabinet and they're like, "Hey, what's in the
They're
snack
wise.
cabinet?"
They're wise to the podcast
Yeah,
room
they totally figured it
and
out.
the snack cabinet.
They're good.
They're
And
like
so
the one with stickers all over it. That's the one with snacks.
the one that we open and there's a bunch of food in it, and a lot of it's fun food that you would want to eat. So we had these like the lava kisses that we talked about in a previous episode, and we hid them in an empty box. I'm going to put a picture of this. And then I found some other, like some York peppermint patties, which is another of my favorite
It's
candies.
an empty box with a Banksy card on it from my coworker who went to Europe.
It's so cute.
Yeah, it's
It's
really cute.
adorable, and it's like a not camouflage, but it's a secret hiding place. I don't know.
Oh,
I was
yeah,
trying to think
it's
of
our hiding
a cool
place.
way to say it, but
Because
that was it.
my daughter already helped finish the clotted cream fudge that was in there from.
So now it's
Before.
just full of like
So she
mainstream
thinks,
American candy.
she
but
thinks
good
it's
ones.
empty, but really
Well, I know.
inside.
It's not.
Wah wah wah.
Oh my god, everybody. All right, we're
All
going
right.
to now we're going to intro. We're going to give you guys a new Right Club for February.
Booyah.
Write it, bitch.
All right. Right Club.
Right club.
We're doing it.
So we're announcing it now, and it will be. We will. When does
It'll
it
be
due?
due on. I think
Well,
we're
I
going
don't
to give
know
you
when
guys a
it's
little
due.
time because we're announcing it early. So we're going to give you until
The 15th?
February 15th,
Yeah.
which is the day after Valentine's
Woo-
Day.
And the day before our yoga class starts.
Oh, well,
No,
that's good. Everyone
week
else cares
before.
about that. The week before. It's the day before the week before. It was like,
No, it's
great.
The,
Let's add that to our calendar.
it's the week before the day before.
That's what I just said. Oh my God. You're killing me. All right. So we're doing kind of like a theme. Simmer down, Trisha. We're doing like a theme for Valentine's for the month of February, the month of love.
I can't stop laughing. I'm so sorry. I'm still kind of jet lagged, so I'm sorry.
You're a little
I'm
delirious.
sorry.
That's okay. I don't care. It's fine.
Okay.
Okay. So here's the prompt, everybody. Are you ready? This is it.
Get ready.
All right, here we go. You declare to the heavens that you will never fall in love. Aphrodite herself took it as a challenge. Woo! Woo!
Swear to God, that's the only reason I'm married.
What? That was just wah wah. That was like,
I thought it was funny, but it
That
came
was-
out really bad. It's like not funny at all.
it was like one of the stand-up
Was it the
comedy things
biggest-
that like totally
It's like the biggest
landed.
insult to my husband in the world. I'm like, it just says Aphrodite made me do it. All right, I'll cut that part out.
Oh no. Everybody, we're
no,
losing our
miss.
minds collectively.
Anyways.
All right. So now that we're done with all of our business, we are going to go into our awesome interview with super cool Shari. And here you go. Guests on the bench.
Hi.
Hello, everybody. So we have a guest this week on the bench, and we would like.
Benchling.
She's a benchling. So we'd like to introduce Shari. Say hello, Shari.
Hi. She's all
Wait, waving doesn't help.
Hello, Shari. Yeah. No. Sometimes we use props. No one can see us.
That's so funny. So we've actually known Shari for a long time. I met Shari right before I got married, which means my anniversary of marriage is my anniversary with you as well.
Okay.
That's how I remember how long I've met you, though, or how long I've known you, actually, because you'd help me with some makeup stuff for my wedding. And so that's how I always remember it. But yeah, so for many years, Shari is our friend, but she's also been our skincare makeup advisor with her own Mary Kay business.
You can
And-
say guru. It's okay.
Guru, yeah.
That's good. You can say guru.
Specialist. So she keeps us, looking good. And
In case you're wondering why we look so nice all the time.
yeah.
You do. I mean, you look.
She's
great.
like, I don't want to take credit for that.
She's like, when they look bad, they're obviously not following the program.
Well, I know you guys a long time. You look good. You look good.
So, but today we wanted to talk to Shari about, aside from her wonderful skin and makeup care stuff that she does, her other side of her, which is her. Okay, so how do you? Can you describe this? Because we were like,
Because you're stuck.
because we were laughing because on the way tell her what you said about her being psychic.
Oh, okay. So last night I texted Shauna and I was like, what are the questions we're asking tomorrow? Can you send them to me so I can look at them? And she's like, I'm too tired. I'm going to bed. A second later on our group text, you said, what are the questions?
Well, I was on a podcast recently,
do you,
and okay, so the short answer is I am a psychic medium, and I'm also an empath. But I had done a podcast recently that was a YouTube thing, so they had videos, but and they had showed me the questions ahead of time, and they're like they were less. I don't want to say anything bad, but they weren't questions that led to a discussion. They were like yes or no questions. I'm like, oh, these are not conducive to like a conversation. And I was like, oh, okay. So let me help you with that.
Yeah.
So you guys are vastly superior already. Have you seen the questions? So
Well, I told Shauna, I was like, Shari was reading my mind last night because
what are
after-
the odds?
I know. I'm like, she's totally psychic.
And then we were like, yeah.
What are the odds? It happens
It
all the
was just
time.
funny. I was like, right after I said that, you're like, bing.
It happens.
Yeah.
A lot.
So I guess our questions. I mean, so you had kind of told us about this a few years ago, I guess, when you started kind of developing all your
Coming out of the
like
closet.
stuff
five
more.
or 6 years ago.
Your psychic closet.
Yeah.
But do you want to? Can you just tell us a little bit, sort of about like
The
how it works
journey?
for you, and also sort of like when you maybe first noticed that you had this sort of connection
The
to
backstory.
Yeah.
It was always something that was always there. I mean, even as a little kid, I mean, I think I always knew there was something different. When I was little, I would be in my room. I guess I acted out a lot. I remember being grounded a lot. But I spent a lot of, that was probably more a little later, but I remember spending a lot of time in my room, and my stuffed animals would talk, and things would fly around the room, and there would be like presences in my room, and like things would move around, and I was like, and like, how do you like say that to a grown up and have them not tell you like you're making up stories and things like that? So it really just kind of continued on, and I always heard my strongest sense was clairaudience. I hear voices in my head, so I constantly would hear voices in my head, and I would tell my parents I could hear people talking to me. And again, it was this sort of dismissive because in that day and age, we didn't have Google or Facebook, or you couldn't like just look it up. My kid is hearing voices, and there wasn't. Where could you go? And even
it's
if
not
you,
like a psychiatric hearing voice.
No, I mean, and I went to a psychiatrist or a psychologist when I was a kid, and they were like, there wasn't really anything wrong with me. I just was convinced that I heard voices and that people would talk to me, and I knew things were going to happen before they would happen. I knew when the traffic lights were going to change. I knew, where the ball was going to go in, kickball and recess. And I knew things. I could see things that would happen before they would happen, a couple of seconds. And as I got older, like into college, really, it got to be extremely strong, and it got to be very disruptive. So in college, there was a period of time where every night that I went to sleep, there was a dream that would then come to fruition the next day. And it became this really, it's a lot for a kid who doesn't quite understand what it is. How do you, like, what level of responsibility do you bear there? So one of the stories that I always tell is about a friend of mine who played on the football team, that I had this vision that he was going to hurt his ankle. And my dorm room looked out over the football field, and he had invited me to come to the game and watch them play. And I said, no, I just, I made some lame excuse about why I couldn't go, because I knew he was going to get hurt. Like, I knew it the same as I know my name. But what am I supposed to say to him? Don't play?
Yeah.
I mean, so he's going to go to the coach and say...
Hop on one leg.
Right. The coach, this girl that I'm not dating, but this girl, told me she had a dream that I got hurt in the game, so I think I'm going to sit this one out.
Right.
I mean, like, he'd never play again. So sure enough, at the end of the game, I went down to the stadium just to like say, you know, congratulations, whatever they won, or I don't even remember. But there he was, sure enough, on crutches, and he had hurt his ankle in the game, but it was thankfully minor.
Yeah.
And he was out like a week, and it was, you know, he lived, and it was all fine. But what level of responsibility do you have in that? And then if you do intervene, did you just change that person's path? Like maybe there was
Yeah.
something important that was supposed to happen to him that week when he wasn't at practice. Like
Right.
what? So it became just
That's interesting.
completely
Yeah, that's
overwhelming.
kinda stressful.
Yeah.
I think
It was
would
completely
yeah.
overwhelming.
Does
So
the universe want him to slow down for another reason that you don't know about? Like, how do you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
so where do you how do you know?
Yeah.
So being untrained at that point, I had no idea like what am I supposed to do with this information that's been
Yeah.
given to me? And now I feel this like immense pressure, and it just got to be overwhelming. So I remember one night just having this complete meltdown and just saying, whatever this is, it needs to go away. And I just felt these doors over my eyes just close, and then I never had it again. And then back in 2007, we were doing a refi on our house. Maybe it was 2008. We were doing a refi on our house, and there was all this drama with Bank of America had merged with Countrywide, and they lost our paperwork in their computer system, and we ended up with this whole trauma with Bank of America trying to steal our house and all this stuff. And it threw me into this, like, it took literally 3 years, because in the middle of all of that was when the economy hit the deck.
yeah.
So it took 3 years for them to get our house sorted back out. And we were in and out of foreclosure, and just the trauma of it, because Bank of America was calling our house like every 30 minutes, all day, 7 days a week, from 8:30 in the morning till 9 o'clock at night. Literally every 30 minutes, they were calling from the
my
collections department.
gosh.
So we stopped answering the phone. I couldn't do my job. I mean, it was like it was harassment, but what am I, who do I call with that? So finally, we actually win. Yay, we saved the house. But it threw me into this massive depression. And then in that same time, my father had his stroke. And so there was just a lot of things that just threw me down to the very bottom of the darkness. And when you're in that place and those things happen, because the universe is like, hello, knock, knock, knock. It's time for you to wake up. It's time for you to come back and do what you were meant to do. And so in that time and in my recovery from all of that, I said, I think I'm supposed to rediscover this part of myself. Like I used to know stuff. And what I noticed was that things were creeping back in, that I would know things. Like I always knew about the traffic lights, and I always knew where the ball would go. And like that part never left, but littler things started to come back in. Like I knew who would be on the phone or at the door, and I knew what you were going to say before you said it. And I was like, I think I'm supposed to do this. And so about 10 years ago was when I started very quietly investigating and talking to people and taking classes and trying to figure out what the hell was going on, because now we had Facebook and Google, and you could there were all
Look
this
stuff up. Yeah.
yeah. Well, because about 15 years ago was when like tarot cards came back into fashion, and the universe, the people are waking up, and the spiritualist movement and people connecting with their metaphysical things is becoming less taboo and much more socially aware.
Right.
I have really only had one person like tell me that she thought I was being like led by the devil, and most people are like, oh, that's interesting, and like nobody's yelled at me like witch. So people are waking up. But when I decided that it was time to open, it was like floodgates. It was just like whoo. And then so I was very quiet about it for a while, but Shauna was one of the first people I talked with about it, because you and I go back so far, and I did have trust. And then I remember like really having a debate about it with myself when your mom had passed away, Trisha, because I knew I was supposed to help you. I didn't know you as well as I knew Shauna, and I didn't want to overstep, and you don't know what people believe. And
It took me a while to ask you, and then you were like, of course,
Right.
but I think that's what had to happen. Like I
had kind of
You knew?
sent it. I know it sounds
Oh,
really
had
strange,
you?
but I had
No.
sent it to you. I was like, well, okay, I know I'm supposed to do this, so I'm sending the thought to you so that when you were ready, you would receive it.
Well, and I thought about it a while, and I asked Shauna if I should ask you, and she was like, yes, go ahead. I'm sure it'll be fine. And then, but I was just, it's like the same thing. Like I didn't want to, cross a barrier I wasn't supposed to cross or something. And
Because people feel weird about it.
No. And it really, really helped me talking to you. I think about the conversation to this day, like a lot.
Okay.
So it helped me with a lot of closure, you know. And
Your mom was one of the first people I had ever like actually channeled. So
really?
Yeah, because now it happens a lot. Like I didn't always like have a word for it.
Yeah.
And then when she came through and words were coming out of my mouth that I knew were not my own words.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, now I have a word for that. Like I
Yeah.
understood it had happened before, but not so clearly
Uh-huh.
that I was so taken aback by her physicality with like in me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting. But,
So when it like, so do you, so the clairaudience is the hearing. So you're hearing her talk. You're not seeing.
sometimes I do see. I
I always wonder
see.
how that works. Yeah.
Well, okay, so when I work mediumistically, which is when I'm connecting with people who are no longer alive on the earth plane, I feel them come forward over my right shoulder.
Oh, okay.
And in my mind, and I see them like, it's a little hard to explain, but it's like a projection screen in front of my forehead, but I'm seeing it from my eyes, but looking out, but it's inside my head. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's like a projection screen that I'm looking at it like this, but it's really inside my head.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can.
So I'm sort of imagining this screen in front of me. And so when I'm looking in that, I have a diagram on the floor. If I'm looking at the screen of a picture of a room, that's there's a diagram on the floor, and I ask them to stand in certain positions that tells me who they are. So if you have multiple relatives that choose to come forward, and I mean, be clear, I have no control over who comes forward. They choose. So I can open the door, and they come forward, and I ask them to stand. If you're a mother's side, like if I'm talking to Shauna's family, is it on your mother's side or your father's side? Where do they stand?
You tell them to stand
I ask
somewhere.
them to stand where they are. So that helps me. They don't always listen, but it helps me to understand who they are. Well, and sometimes you have people like where like there's siblings have married siblings, and so like you're on the mother's side of the family, but you're also on the father's side of the family, and so there's this different
divorce,
right?
yeah.
You know, or adoption. You know, so who are you and where do you stand? And so sometimes I have people that just wander around, but I can see them. I can often give a description of what they look like, and then they'll say things. And they'll give me things. I had one woman who was talking to me about rose bushes and strawberry plants, and I had one woman that was talking to me about, show me pictures of two little girls playing hopscotch. And so these show me images of things, and then and it doesn't necessarily make any sense to me. But if I say to you, I have this image of two little girls playing hopscotch, and the woman that I was talking to, she said, "Oh yes, that was her friend who had passed. They were little girls together, and they always played hopscotch out in front of the house." So. And so that was the woman was giving me this image. So they're trying to give information that will prove to you, the sitter, that I'm actually talking to the person that I say I am. Because there's no way. I mean, most of the people I work with, I've never met them before.
Right.
So I don't know anything about them. So it's very interesting to bring forward information that I can't possibly know, except that I do.
Yeah.
So I can see things. They give me imagery. They tell me things in my ears. And often I can feel things in my body as well, like claircognizance or clairsentience, where I can say, did this person have, was he a smoker? Sometimes I will have trouble breathing and say, was there lung cancer? Or my stomach hurts, was there, what was going on with the stomach? Or I find myself feeling very...
That's called
like,
clairsentience.
Clairsentience is where you can...
But that's when you
where
feel
you
it.
can feel it.
Okay.
And claircognizance is where you just know it. Like there's things that you know. I can feel, I sit in a chair with arms. I always make sure to sit in a chair with arms or something if I can, because sometimes I'll feel dizzy. I'm like, outside of my regular, but I'll feel, I'm like,
The regular spin.
I'm like, was the person, like, do they have balance issues or I feel tipsy and they're like, oh yeah, they drank, I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
So I don't always know exactly what, but I give what information is available to me, and then the person can confirm it.
Right. Oh, that's okay.
So yeah, it just comes through, and for different people, it's different. I have had, some spirits like of our loved ones that have come forward and they refuse to talk. So I've had, one gentleman who came through. It was the father, and he's like, I'm here. I could see him. I could describe him. I knew exactly what he looked like, but he just stood there with his arms crossed and just flat refused to talk to me. Had another woman, her son had come through, and he was answering her questions, and then she asked one question, and he literally turned on a dime and walked away. And I had one gentleman that flat out lied to me because he didn't want his daughter, who I was talking with, to know the truth of how he had died. So he told me one thing, and she said, "Yeah, that's what I've been told my whole life, but I know it's not true." And so he didn't ever want her to know that. I've had other people who have like lied to me about infidelity and things like that. So who you are here as a human is still who you are on the other side.
Yeah, you're not like a magical nice angel once you pass or something.
Right. People think that. They're like, oh, now I'm enlightened and I'm all nice. I'm like, no, if you were crappy here, you're crappy there.
Well, that was one of the questions that I had too, was like, do you ever have negative things come around you? And is it ever scary? I mean, because I think that I would think it's kind of like in life, if you attract crappy people or you know what I mean, or if you're on
crazy people,
or crazy whatever, it's like, is that, if that comes through, I don't know, like how do you feel about
safeguard yourself?
Yeah.
Oh yes. Well, learning how to protect yourself and shield and ground and stuff is one of the first things that you need to learn when you're doing this kind of stuff, is to really protect yourself. We have had some wacky things because I do work from my home. I have had people bring things in that were attached to them, entities or thought forms and things that they've come in. And then I had one day when we had the ceiling fan with the light fixture on it, and the light fixture was just going, it was just shaking like crazy, and I really thought the glass thing was going to fall off of it. And so there was an entity that actually, it took myself and my husband to get it to leave the house. And then we have a crystal grid that goes around the house that just protects the house and lets, stuff not come in. So
what does that mean?
Yeah, what's a crystal grid?
We have different.
In my mind, it was like this huge fortress.
It's like a princess house.
They're small crystals. They're tumbled stones. They're maybe like the size of walnut, and they're different stones that do different things. Crystals are sentient energy beings that you can ask them to do things, and so we put them in all the rooms of the house. So we use different crystals for different things. So in my house we have selenite, which is like an angel kind of a stone that's very cleaning and clearing and helps to keep everything nice and happy. And
oh my god, I need like all of these.
Bags of that.
We
need to surround your house with that,
and then the inside,
and then like under
and then I'll put them in my kids'
under the
pockets.
beds.
Yep.
Yeah.
We do. You can put it under the bed. You want to be careful putting selenite under the bed. It can lead to some very vivid dreams.
Okay.
So,
maybe not that.
but not under the bed. But I do keep it in every room in the house. I have right now I have a piece in my pocket and a piece in my bra. I don't know if that's too much information.
No, it's
No.
not.
Well, and you're holding some.
I am.
Too.
I'm holding a clear quartz in one hand and a blue calcite in the other hand. So
Those are pretty.
but I use the selenite, and then I have crystals all over me. So I have labradorite, which is kind of a green stone that we put with the selenite, and labradorite is a protection stone. I call it the bubble rock. It kind of puts a bubble of protection around wherever you put it. So, and then you connect all the crystals together just by touching and taking that energy, and you connect them so that it creates a protection around the house. But
so you don't have to actually have I pictured it like when you.
it's not like a line of ants,
like a
or
line
anything.
of salt, like the supernatural.
You can do that. You can do that. You can take some like kosher salt and go around the outside of your
I've
house.
done that.
And,
Yeah.
but it's like you can put different crystals like by your front door to bring in prosperity and things. There's lots of different things. I always carry amethyst when I travel because it protects the traveler, and I usually don't have any problems, which is a nice thing. So I use the crystals.
How'd you get it out? The entity. Sorry, we started talking about the protection.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How'd you get it? Like, did you?
be gone.
Right. Well, you bring in a lot of light. So if you imagine in your mind or you visualize in your mind just a massive downpour of bright, sparkly white light, you bring in a lot of light. And so the first thing you want to do is you want to bring the light into yourself, and then you can push it out from there. And we have people know about chakras, like the main chakras we have in our body, right? But we have chakras everywhere. So we have chakras in the bottoms of our feet, we have chakras in our palms and our fingertips, which is why I'm holding the stones in my hands, because it helps my palm chakras to it helps me be more receptive when I'm doing work. So I have things in my palm chakras that help energize them. So then you can take that energy, that white light, and then you can direct it out through your hands. And that's basically what Reiki is, where they bring in that light energy and it comes through them and then out through their hands. And so you can actually think of like, I don't know, like Harry Potter without the wands.
Right.
You know? And so you can do that, and you can actually learn how to do that with just not even moving. I was sitting somewhere, I was at a workshop with a girlfriend of mine, and this obnoxious woman came and sat down next to us, and we kind of looked at each other, and then just in my mind I brought in the light and I poofed out the light around me and like expanded my aura out with the light, and she moved. I was like, awesome.
You need to learn how to do
Awesome.
that.
If we're walking anywhere and there's somebody like a little loopy on the street or in
They're
a
all attracted to
store,
you?
they all talk to me. Everybody, Shauna, Edgar, and my husband will all
It's because your
walk
energy is
by,
not grounded.
and they just come to me and they're like, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Like, just, my mom was the same way.
Your energy is not grounded. The whole time I've ever known
Grounded?
you, your energy is not grounded.
I'm like floating around.
Yeah. It happens a lot to people like me. We work really in the higher chakras and the upper chakras, the heart and the throat and the third eye and the cranial, and the crown chakra, and we're not really into like the root chakra and the sacral chakra and the solar plexus. So we just are like, I get all floopy. That's where my word floopy comes from. I'm just
So
like,
I'm floopy too?
oh yeah, but it's one of the
Okay.
things I like about you. But I don't psychic without permission. Like I don't. You know, people are like, "What do you think about those TV shows where they walk up to people?" I'm like, "No." Mm-mm.
Have you seen the one where there's a guy in a car driving around and he just picks people up and tells them stuff?
Is it like
He's
taxi
like
Cash
cab?
cab?
No, he's
Cash
like
cab, but
he's like a
Psychic
Uber
cab?
or something, like Uber psychic. I was watching it one day and I was like, "This is so interesting." Like, what is this show?
For me, I feel like it's mental trespassing. So no, whatever it is, whenever people ask me, "Have you seen that TV show?" The answer is always no, because I don't really watch any of that. Like I don't watch any of that stuff. I watch very little television. It's all the stuff that like we've picked in advance. Like we like that show, we're gonna DVR that, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Because there's so limited time anyway. But I don't psychic without permission. I feel like it's mental trespassing. You didn't invite me into your energy. You didn't like, and just because you got in my car or I got in yours doesn't. That's not a silent contract for you to psychic me. So I mean, I can teach you how to ground your energy. It's very, very easy, but I don't do. I'm not going to walk up to somebody and go, you know, Trisha,
You're so floopy.
Well, I might say that just, you know, because you're my friend.
No,
but
it's
to
fine.
say to somebody like, oh, you know, I have a message for you, or you're not grounded and you need to be grounded.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to be anything. You're like, people have free will.
Yeah.
You are your own human being, and anything that I tell people is potentialities. It's not ever guarantees. I mean, I'm very good at what I do, but it is not ever. I mean, it's potentialities. Humans have free will. So but yeah, I think anytime people say to me like, somebody came up to me and told me, I'm like, please tell me they didn't ask you for money, because like, don't psychic without permission. That's rude.
Yeah, that's happened to my cousin a few times, where my cousin Claire, where people have just approached her like outside a grocery store and said random things. And she's like, okay, I don't know how to unpack this. Like,
It's a very weird thing, because it's kind of this level of 6 degrees of separation. So I had this guy come to me, a guy in spirit, and he was the brother of a woman that I knew a bit. Like, I know who she is, and I mean, we were kind of like socially familiar, but I knew her husband very well. And so this dead guy came to me and he said, I need you to get this message. I need to like be able to share this information and the husband. And it happens a lot where messages will come through when I work with people that it's not for you. Like, and I'll say, this is a person who's saying, all these things, and you're like, no, it doesn't resonate. That's not related to me. I don't know what that is. I said, well, hold on to it because it might be for someone that you know. So this guy came through. And he was very insistent that I knew her and that I was supposed to talk with her. And I'm like, I barely know her. I'm not talking to her.
Right.
I'm not,
Yeah.
So finally I did agree to mention to her husband, who I did know very well, and he knew about my skills. And I said, this is what happened. And he said, well, can you, prove it? Because he didn't believe in any of it. He knew, but he didn't believe in any of it.
Sounds like
And
my husband would be like that. too.
Yeah, and he said, can you
He's like,
right,
Yeah.
right, prove it.
Air
And so
quotes.
air quotes. And I said, well, this is what he told me, and he told me his name, and he told me, this is where he knew, and this is what, because I figured it was her husband. So if there was stuff that like she knew, he probably knew. They'd been married for a long time.
Yeah.
And so I told him, I said he wants to rectify this situation, and he feels guilty about this, and he told me to tell you this keyword and this birth date and that kind of thing, and he was like, okay. but because everything was true.
Yeah.
But even still, like, she didn't believe either. So he kind of casually mentioned it to her, and she's like, she blew it off. And so I went back to the dead guy and I said, look, if you, he was really bugging me.
oh man.
And I said, if you want me to do this, then you need to bring her to the table. And so all of a sudden, a couple months go by, I say all of a sudden, but then all of a sudden, all these things started happening where she and I were both at the same party. We were at the same table for something. We were at the same, and I'm like, she kept being in my space. I was like,
Literally.
okay, I get it. So but again, she didn't buy in. So there's only so much I could do to kind of drop the information on her without overstepping and mental trespassing and all of that.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Or just putting her off.
and at that point I said, look, I've done what I can do. Unless you can open her mind, there's not,
Yeah.
So, but so weird things happen.
So it's not like, okay, this is just, because I think there's so many things that people think about this kind of stuff where it's like we don't all understand. So it's not that you're like reading someone's mind.
No.
Because I know that that's another thing where it's like, because you said trespassing, but that's more like spirit coming to you and then you
When
conveying the information. You're not like reading my mind like, oh, I just thought about whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's not.
We live in Orlando and we have Disney passes, so we go over to the park. I like to go to Epcot and walk around, have dinner and stuff. It's just a nice place. My husband and I walk around, and I can literally walk around the theme park and go, okay, this person has, there. I see because I see the dead people with them. I see angels with them. I see guardians. I see all kinds of stuff. So, I mean, I can look at people and say, this person has, lung issues, or this person has scoliosis or multiple sclerosis, or this person has, and I can see like, this person's lost a child. I can see all these things, but it's none of my business.
Right.
So generally what I do is I close up shop, and any working psychic medium will tell you that they have some little thing that they do. Like one woman I know, she puts on a wristwatch. Another person I know wears a hat. So you send a message to the other side that says, I am open or I am not open. Because for the longest time, I couldn't go to a concert. I couldn't go to Disney. There would be no way. I'd just be
block
like,
it out.
right. So I had to learn how to do that. And I also had to create a relationship with spirit that said, this is when I'm open and this is when I'm not. So now I walk around and I'm like completely oblivious.
Right.
Because I don't need to be. But even still, it's none of my business. Unless you came to me and said, can you help me? Can we sit down? Can we talk? Whatever I know about you, it's not my business to know it. So I just, and I don't remember. Well, I was going to say, I don't remember if I told you this when we talked with your mom, but the fact is I don't remember anything.
Yeah,
when
you
people,
said that.
okay.
Yeah, no, you told me that.
So only the things that really stand out.
Right.
Or
So-
if like you talk about it maybe a lot afterwards or something.
Yeah,
it's
like
fine.
yeah, because it's not your thoughts.
No.
So the information comes through me.
Right.
It's not mine. It doesn't stay with me. And then I'm like, whatever. People come back to me and they're like, oh, well, last time you told me blah, blah, blah. I'm like, awesome.
I mean, it would be impossible for you to hold on to everything that that has ever come through you.
I can't remember shit just to start with, and now I have to remember all of your stuff too.
No, not happening. And you know.
Well, plus it goes back to the burden to bear. It's not mine.
Yeah.
And so if I had to hold on to all those things, I mean, I would never get out of bed.
Right.
I mean, it's just for my own protection. They just pass the information through me, and then it's gone. So.
Well, it's the person that you're speaking with or, working with that needs what you're saying.
Like right now, like right now I feel very, very and I feel like I can say this to you because we have worked together before and you've asked me to share my story. But like, did your mom have a brother?
Yeah, she has 2.
Okay, and one of them's in spirit?
No.
Okay, so
Well, there could be. I mean, if there was a miscarriage, I didn't know about her.
Okay, well, because I have this really, because your mom is around you, all the time, but you know that.
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
I'm glad you said that because I feel like she is.
yeah, because your mom's around you, all the time.
Constantly.
And I like her because, and I kind of remember her because she was very sassy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so she's I'm supposed to tell, you're supposed to tell your uncles, tell your mom's brothers hello. They are supposed to know that she's around too. So, just tell them I said hi. And is there a B name? Who's got a B name that's in the men in your family?
In the men?
Yeah.
Oh, my Uncle Bo. B name. That's her brother-in-law.
Okay, well, she says...
She's closer to him, or was closer to him than she was to one of her actual brothers. So, that could be it, too.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So,
But,
I don't know. Have you not talked with him in a while?
I see them every once in a while. I haven't seen him in a couple months.
Maybe give a call.
They're in California.
Okay.
So I see, we had Thanksgiving with them.
Okay.
Yeah. I can only think of, I'll have to think about it. I can only think of.
Well, and that happens a lot because, you kind of put somebody on the spot, even when they come in and they're like, oh, I want to connect with my grandmother. I'm like, okay, well, I have no control over who comes through.
Yeah.
So this person's coming through and they're like, wait, I have to think about it. And then it turns out to be their husband or their, next door neighbor and something really obvious. But in that moment, it's hard to think. But it was clear to me it's her brother and there was a B name and she just said to check in and just to say hi and make sure that they're doing okay.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I'll check in. One of the brothers was with somebody living with a woman. And I feel like she might have had a B name, not him though.
Okay.
But I don't know. I'll have to kind of look
well, let me know what
around and see.
happens.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. My mom's nephew just came out of a horrible face surgery. I thought that's what I kind of thought. That's where you were gonna go with it. He has cancer and my cousin. Yeah. Anyways.
Well, I hope he's better.
Yeah.
We can send healing angels.
He's working through it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
What's his name?
Christopher?
Okay, so we can ask for Christopher to have. There's something called the Law of Grace, so we can ask for healing angels to be sent to Christopher to help ease his pain and speed his recovery. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I like doing that. That's easy.
Yeah.
So, because then again, it's just something that I ask for and they'll do it, which I think is so amazing about spirit and angels and guides and stuff is that they're always there to help us in every possible way. We just don't ever ask them.
Yeah.
How do I ask him for help?
I just
You
asked.
see that I'm struggling? No. Well, I need all these things. I need the stones. I need the
sage,
I'm going to sage myself. Thanks for joining us for the first part of our interview. And we're going to do the second part of the interview next week because we were trying to fit in a lot of things into one episode.
That's right. That's right. And also write some shit.
Right Club.
Submit that by the 15th.
Get on it, everybody, for Right Club.
We'll remind you next week, too. But
Aphrodite's waiting.
Don't procrastinate.
So, everybody, that's it for now. If you want to support our show in any way, there is rate, review, and subscribe available to you. A 5-star rating.
Tell someone about our show.
That's right.
Spread the word.
Tell someone. If you've got some extra cash, Patreon. Coffee.
Yep.
If you've got extra
social media time, we're on
social media.
Twitter at 2 Girls on a Bench, Facebook, Instagram.
Benchlings.
Where are you? We're here.
We have a Facebook group called Benchlings.
Reach on out.
Go do it.
Come out.
Come
Hang
on
out.
down.
Come and knock on our door. We've been waiting for you.
I feel like you've ended the show like that before.
I feel like
And then I was like, I want to watch 10 episodes of it.
I feel like you just need to shut your mouth right now.
You need to shut your face.
All right, so yeah, keep writing.
Keep snacking.
Bye.
Adios.
This was a podcast from the Podfix Network. You can check out more shows like it at podfixnetwork.com.